Oh, O020 Hookthie ruled the greatest empire the world had ever seen.
They had unlimited power, unlimited wealth, and absolutely no mercy.
These are the most brutal, most savage, and most terrifying rulers in all of Roman history.
Welcome to MindBlown History.
Oh, 2110 Emperor 1 Caligula. His real name was Gaius, but history remembers him as Caligula, meaning little boot. He started as a beloved emperor. The people adored him.
But within months, everything changed. Caligula declared himself a living god. He forced senators to run alongside his chariot for miles as entertainment.
He once made his horse a senator not as a joke, but as a humiliation to the entire Roman Senate. He executed people for sport,
Tortured prisoners in front of dinner guests,
and reportedly said, "I wish all of Rome had just one neck, so I could cut it off with a single blow." He was assassinated by his own guards after just 4 years.
Rome breathed a sigh of relief. 1010 Emperor 2 knew Caligula was mad. Nero was something far darker. Nero is believed to have murdered his own mother, Agrippina, after she became too powerful.
He sent assassins to her home. When they failed, he had her stabbed to death. When he saw her body,
Historians say he calmly examined her wounds and moved on. He then murdered his first wife, Octavia,
and had her head delivered to his mistress as a gift. When Rome burned in 60 for Ad in the Great Fire,
many Romans believed Nero himself ordered it so he could rebuild the city in his own image.
While thousands were homeless, Nero built a magnificent golden palace on the ruins. He blamed the Christians for the fire,
launching the first Roman persecution, feeding them to lions, and burning them alive as torches to light his garden parties. 10 Emperor 3 Domitian ruled with absolute terror.
He kept a list of enemies, real and imagined, and executed them one by one. He demanded to be addressed as Lord and God. Anyone who refused faced death.
He had a particular fondness for a method of torture so disturbing that Roman historians barely described it in full. He once invited Rome's leading senators to a banquet. The room was painted entirely black. The food was shaped like funeral offerings. Each man was seated next to a gravestone bearing his own name.
They sat in absolute silence, convinced they were about to be executed. Then Domitian laughed, sent them home, and had gifts delivered to their doors the next morning.
Pure psychological terror.
He was eventually assassinated by members of his own household,
including his wife. 10 Emperor 4 Commodus believed he was the reincarnation of Hercules. He dressed in lion skins, carried a club, and renamed Rome after himself, calling it Colonia Commodiana, the colony of Commodus. But his real obsession was the Colosseum.
He would enter the arena himself not to fight trained gladiators, but to slaughter animals and disabled people who had been chained and could not fight back. He called this sport. He once killed 100 bears in a single morning without leaving the royal box, shooting them with arrows from a safe distance. He charged the city of Rome 1 million gold coins per appearance in the arena, billing himself as the greatest gladiator who ever lived. He was strangled in his bath by a wrestler hired by his own advisors in 190 to add. 10 Emperor 5
Caracall's first act as sole emperor was to murder his own brother,
get her in their mother's arms,
while she begged him to stop. He then ordered the execution of everyone who had ever shown support for Geta's soldiers, senators, friends. Historians estimate he killed between 10 and 20,000 people in the weeks that followed. He had an entire city massacred. Alexandria, one of the greatest cities in the ancient world, made the mistake of mocking him in a theatrical play. Caracalla arrived under the pretense of paying his respects to
Alexander the Great's tomb, then unleashed his army on the unsuspecting
population. Thousands were slaughtered in the
streets. 6 o'clock.
Closing 5 emperors, 5 reigns of terror, each one worse than the last. And yet, despite the madness, despite the blood, despite the cruelty Rome endured,
because Rome was bigger than any one man, no matter how brutal. That is what makes Roman history so utterly fascinating. The empire that built roads, law, and civilization was also ruled by monsters. If your mind is blown, hit subscribe to MindBlown History and turn on notifications.
Drop a comment which emperor shocked you the most. And stay tuned, because next time, we are going somewhere completely different.
The animal kingdom has its own shocking stories, and you will not believe what we have found.